Last there, just take it up to the departure end of the runway, then a left turn and a left downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final. Runway 9 clear to land.
Okay, all right. Let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. Well, we got a tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You cleared to land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. Do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, you're on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around.
Yeah, follow.
Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that. After 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, 3, 2, 1. Hello. Good evening and welcome to the Fly live stream on this lovely, gorgeous Thursday night where it is just peeing down outside. It's rubbish visibility, it's cloudy, it's bloody cold, and I can't believe that on the bloody 13th of June I'm tempted to go and put the bleeding heating on in my house because it's so fucking cold.
Neil JT says it's Cavoke in my living room.
Yeah, Cavoke in my living room, but it's not very toasty, that's for sure.
No.
I think I just switched my bleep machine on, Ian.
What?
Bleep.
Bleep?
Yes.
Why would you need that?
Well, yeah. Family show and all that.
Anticipation.
Yeah.
It's past the watershed. We have a new watershed for aviators. It's called 7:30 on a Thursday. So there you go. Right. enough of me wibbling. I think it's time to say thank you to Sky Demon and to bring you this week's tip, which is brand new, never seen before. Fantastic feature in Sky Demon. So grab your Sky Demon and get ready to make art. Here you go.
Hi, I'm Tim from Skydemon. Welcome to this week's top tip. If you've been flying with Skydemon for a while, you might have accumulated a lot of flight logs in your cloud storage. Did you know that you can turn these flight logs into a work of art? Open the Logs menu and choose Explore Heat Map. You can choose any period to view your logs from, but I'm going to show you this one, which has over 4,000 flights done by one of our customers from the UK. As you can see, this special map view has a dark background so that you can better see all your flights. For each point on the map, the more times your flights have crossed it, the hotter it appears. This map is fully interactive, so you can zoom out and pan to another part of the map to inspect it. As you do so, you'll see the number of flights and the number of nautical miles represented on the map, updated at the top. When you've got the map looking just as you want it, you can press Share to send it by email or post it on social media. For our full user manual, go to skydemon.aero and choose Help and Support.
Such a cool feature.
I know. I like the way Tim says work of art and then says, look at this beautifully manicured map created by one of our customers. He's clearly not seen my flights, which I'm very proud to say looks like a spider climbed in some yellow ink and walked all over a black background.
I have to say, if you were to look at my flights for 2024 and just that time period, it would be a pretty...
Not many.
Not many. Yeah, anyway. Right, there you go.
Great feature, though. Great feature.
Yes. While we're on the weather, let's go to Simon, who is recorded tonight.
Evening all, hope all is well with you. Sorry I can't be with you again this evening. I feel like I've abandoned you. So I do apologise for that. We've got another couple of weeks of you having to put up with me on a recording, but then I'll be back live. I promise. It's just the way that things have fallen. I'm sure you don't mind though, so long as you get the forecast. But I'm not sure if you're particularly going to like the forecast that I'm going to give you. This is the forecast Jetstream for this weekend, and what I've done here is taken a chart for about 18,000 feet in the atmosphere. Think of the lines that you see on here as isobars, so the closer together they are, the stronger the winds are. And what we can say is that the Jetstream is running through here where those lines are closest together. Now, the Jetstream is to the south of us. That means that we're on the cold side of the jet, but we're also on the unsettled side of the jet stream as well. And you see how those lines sort of circle around and make a dartboard shape here. That's actually what we call a low at 500 millibars, which will coincide with a low at the surface. That basically means that we've got very unsettled weather ahead. However, it's going to be showery, it's going to be unstable rather than just soaking wet all weekend, but there are going to be frequent showers. So this is the forecast chart for Friday. That area of low pressure at the surface is to the west of Scotland. We've got bands of heavy showers moving in from the southwest. Most of the showers probably affecting southern and western parts of the country, particularly coasts and hills, where they are going to be thundery at times, and they'll kind of swing through in bands. There'll be bands of those heavy showers, some thunderstorms at times, some cunims as well. Typical base is 2,000 to 4,000 feet, but the tops 15 to 25,000 feet. Check the forecasts really carefully tomorrow. Local flying probably is okay, but don't get caught out. Quite breezy in the south as well, southwesterlies at around 20 to 25 knots, and gusting everywhere in those showers. Now for Saturday, low pressure still with us on Saturday, probably centred somewhere off eastern Scotland. A front wrapped around it, so this is going to be bringing more persistent showers along the line of the front, but it's just a very, very messy situation. Still got that front up towards northern Scotland, so basically non-VFRable here, bases below 500 feet. I think elsewhere we're probably going to be in marginal VFR to non-VFR conditions in the showers. Yes, it will be VFR around them, but again I think it's just local flying. Windy in the south, gusts of 20 to 30, perhaps even 35 knots in the south of England, southern Wales as well. Elsewhere lighter winds, but still very showery. And then we get on to Sunday, and again low pressure is with us, dominating things through Sunday. Along the line of this front, again we're going to be getting more persistent rain, lower cloud, and probably non-VFR conditions. You see here on the cloud ceiling forecast through that line, those yellows and orange colours telling us that bases are less than 1,000 feet. Tops could be up at about 12,000 feet. North and south of it we get pretty heavy showers, again quite breezy in the south. I don't think the showers quite as widespread as they will be on Friday and Saturday, but still heavy showers around. Again, just keep a careful eye on the forecast. They'll pass through in bands, but between them you may be okay. So you'd probably give Sunday a 5 out of 10. Perhaps not quite. No, 4 out of 10. That's better, yeah. We'll give it a 4 out of 10. Okay, whatever you're doing, have a great weekend. Now, just before I go, my next aviation weather school is going to be on the Tuesday evenings of the 9th and 16th of July between 6:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. It's presented entirely live online by me. Yep, you're going to have to put with me for a couple of evenings, I'm afraid. But I'll take you right through weather. I'll get you understanding weather the way you should and get you flying more because of it, and more safely. We'll spot weather windows up to 5 days in advance. And it's just a darn enjoyable course and a good use of your money to get you flying more. Go to weatherschool.co.uk. You can book your place now. I think we've got 2 places left, so get in there quick and get your place booked now. Okay, I've taken up enough of your time. Whatever you're doing, have a fantastic weekend. Fly safely, and I'll catch you next week. Bye for now, folks.
Well, blimey. That's
So,
not bad.
he could have essentially just said, "Look, guys, it's rubbish. See you next week."
Interestingly, there's a bunch of us. If you follow the Flyer Forum at all, there's a bunch of us who are supposedly heading for Italy. Some people leaving on Sunday. Some people have left already. Actually, it seems like some of the smart people. There's some smart people in Cannes at the moment who've made it that far, which is quite a good idea. And the weather for next week through the UK and France, certainly the early parts of next week, because it actually starts on Wednesday. It's kind of looking interesting, and the models keep changing, so the weather changes between like rubbish, complete rubbish, and maybe sort of doable. So it's all kind of interesting and challenging at the moment. But frankly, it's rubbish. And given what is it, 13th today? So what, we're 6 days? Is that right?
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 days away from the.
The longest day, yeah.
Mm.
And the longest day last year was a beautiful day, and it was lovely. And the week leading up to it was really nice.
Yeah, I remember one day many years ago, decided to fly to. It was the Paris Air Show was on, so I picked up a whole bunch of people at stupid o'clock in the 182, flew over to Pontoise, jumped on a train into Paris, over to whatever it's called, around the Paris Air Show, blah 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 blah. Bit of food, back on the train. But we flew back, and I think I landed back at about 9:45 in the evening, and it was still light. It was a bloody long day. It didn't take much to go to sleep that night, but it was just fantastic weather, and just seems like a different era, a different place.
It does. Mike Roberts says it's not very nice to think Ed was worried the Cub progress would slow down with flyable weather. Well, it's beginning to look like a weekend in the hangar for me. So
it is, yeah. I mean, I think that every cloud's got a silver lining, and in your case, every cloud's got a cup-shaped lining. Ed.
Yeah. Well, everyone's invited. Come on round.
Come on, absolutely.
So
right.
Our question of the week, only because we've started to think, well, we've already been doing some planning for it, but we've started to ramp that planning up because Oshkosh is not far around the corner now. And our question to you is, are you going? So maybe it's your first time, maybe it's your 31st time. Tell us.
There's only really one right answer to that.
As we say, you should go at least once in your lifetime.
Absolutely, yes.
It does coincide with Farnborough International Air Show.
What borough international air show?
Farnborough, the British one, you know.
I don't know it. I'm not familiar with that, Dave.
Oh, is that the one that does like rockets and satellites and doesn't bother with aircraft anymore and has?
I think so. It's
full of people with.
That's like the air show. It's the air show for people in suits, isn't it?
I was going to say, if you go to an air show or you go to any kind of aviation exhibition and it's full of people in suits, you know that it's time to turn around and walk out again. Now, I know there's anything wrong with suits, but they just like suck the joy out of it, really, don't they?
Yeah. There we go. We've completely
I quite like Farnborough. Anyway, carry on. Move on.
So Fly Club members, if you're a Fly Club member, thank you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being part of it. If you're not, you can join at fly.co.uk/membership. Lots going on at the moment. We've still got webinars each month. We've just had one from Tony Crow all about air-to-ground photography, which was this week, which members can catch up on. And landing vouchers for this month, we've got Bodmin, Brayton, Peterborough Simpson and Causeway in Northern Ireland. So, yeah, join the club. It's only £5 a month or £52 for the year. It's a bargain. It is a bargain. More people should join.
And is there not something important to share with people that if you're a Fly Club member about Wednesdays?
There is indeed. If you want to meet possibly Ed, possibly Ian, if you head down to Wadswick on a Wednesday, you can pick up a Fly mug. And there's limited stock, so there's not many.
Yes.
And we've given away our first two. So this was Paul Kiddell, famous strip flyer Paul Kiddell was down from the north with his one of his Eurostar group members, Alex, and they were the first two people to let us know, drop in, and they collected their 2 flyer mugs.
Absolutely good. So here is a flyer mug in the flesh. In order to get one of these, just to remind you, you need to fulfil two conditions. One, you need to be a member of the Flyer Club. We don't just give them to everybody, you know. And 2, you need to let us know you're coming, because although we're there most Wednesdays, we're not there every Wednesday. So do let us know, and you'll just have to use your skills to dig out our contact or something. But
Darren Eretique said, I didn't get one last week. They were not in existence last week, Darren.
That's because they didn't exist last week, Darren. It means you'll have to come back again, I'm afraid. But so you've got a standing invitation, Darren. Anyway, so there you go. Come and get your mug. Come and see us on a Wednesday. Let us know. Fly in and grab your mug. Right.
Martin Loosby says, how do we let you know?
Well, Martin, here's the thing. You're going to have to use your... What's the word I'm looking for?
Now.
You're just going to have to figure out. You're going to have to send us an email or something like that. So that's probably the best way. Send us an email, and our email address is on various places. So just give it a go. You'll do it, or ping us a message on the forum.
Yeah,
I'm G Blue on the forum. So do something like that. There you go. That would be my tip. Otherwise, I mean, just if we're not there, just visit and don't have a mug. It's a nice place to visit. But come and get your mug. While mugs last, you can get a mug. Enough mug talk, I think. I'm going to make one last plea for you. Do me a favor, if you haven't done it already, subscribe to our Facebook page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It would actually really help us. So that would be cool. We're not one of those like million subscribers things. So we just need to get to the next notch. So do that for us. Go and do it now. Click like, and all that stuff. That'd be great. Right. Enough of all that. Time for some news, I think.
And you're first.
I've got the first bit of news, and the first bit of news is a bit of good news. And this is EASA have rescinded the emergency AD on Robin wings, the wooden cranked wings in the DR400s, 401s and stuff like that. There was talk of there being a little bit of a crack, or not a crack, or some of the bonding wasn't done properly. And a whole load of Robins at one point initially were grounded, and then they had some kind of flight envelope limitations. And now that's all gone after lots of investigation, sorting out everything and finding out what was wrong and what wasn't wrong, and just looking at it. They've sorted it out, so that's now been rescinded. However, that's EASA, of which we are no longer members. I did ping an email to the CAA to say, when will you be following suit? And as we went to press on this YouTube thingy, there is no answer. But I suspect it'll be soon. They're normally pretty good with stuff like that. So if you have a rubber, you're probably going to be in the clear sooner or later.
That's good news. Good news for Robin.
It is
Absolutely.
good news for Robin. Great news for Robin.
It's less definitely good news for Cornwall Airport, Newquay, as its full title is, because the council has just agreed or has produced a report yesterday that says they're going to sign a partnership with what's called an asset management company, in other words, a property developer, to develop the airfield. Now, the problem for Cornwall Council is that they're not airport operators, but they've been trying to. They're neither are they property managers. So what they've been doing is trying to manage the whole thing, the airport and all the estate around it. It's an absolutely huge site, 650 acres. It's a former St Morgan RAF site. It's a huge place, lots going on, but they've not done it very well as a council, and it's lost money every year. So the council has been subsidising it to the tune of £4 million a year. Now, yesterday in the meeting they had, they produced the outline as a plan, which is to work with this asset manager. They wouldn't name the asset manager in the meeting. The rumour is, and I say it's a rumour because it's in the local paper, it's a company called Westcall, which you may remember are the company that took over at Fair Oaks Airport. And while it's still an airport, Fair Oaks, the land side parts of the airfield, hangars and stuff like that, are now used by other people, not aircraft and not aircraft businesses. So it's a bit, it's not completely convincing at the moment which way this is going to go. The council have said their number one priority is to keep the airport functioning as an airport. They've set out some red lines, which they've told the property developer, the asset manager, that you have to abide by these. But I think probably something similar happened with Doncaster Airport. We know where we are with that. So we'll have to see. The final decision isn't being made till later this year. You kind of have to say that Cornwall Council is not being open and transparent about this whole process. Not totally being secretive, but they're refusing to name people. They're refusing to say what the outcome of the deal is or will be. So it's one to keep an eye on.
Well, I guess if you're developing an airport, it's lucky that there's no collection of aeroplanes on the airport anymore.
Yes.
But the really annoying thing about that is the Cornwall Aviation Heritage Centre, which was based there and had a bunch of really interesting stuff and did some great stuff with both holidaymakers in the area and schools. That site is now still completely empty. So much for having a tenant to go straight in there.
Okay, here's a quick. Sorry to interrupt you. Quick straw poll. Hands up, everyone here who thinks that Newquay Airport is completely safe. That's what.
Do you know what? I had a quick look at Newquay Airport website today because I was wondering. I wonder if I could use it to, because I live in Plymouth, which is not far away. Plymouth hasn't got a working airport at the moment. And I was looking, how do I get to Newquay Airport other than by road, by car? Do you know what? You have to take a train to Penzance and then take a bus from Penzance. It's just ridiculous. If they had a train service from Plymouth direct to Newquay Airport, it would be very popular.
And when you tried to move to 1963, though, didn't you? So.
And if you end up at Newquay at the moment, where does Newquay fly to?
It does have a fairly decent set of airports it goes to. So it is a proper working airport. It's just that I don't think that's a real problem for them. The real problem is just the fact it's a big estate. And I was there just a little while ago. It's huge, massive, and there's lots of things that could be done with it. While we're talking about airfields, I should just add, you may remember the Strategic Airfield Network which was set up at the end of last year. And they did a survey, and they've just released the first results from that survey. One of the headline results from that is that 66 of the airfields who responded to the survey have said that they think of themselves as strategically important in their location for various reasons. But 66 of them, the network itself they're trying to bring that together. It's actually part of something that the government said it wanted and should happen. So it's there. It's more to come. If you go to the Story on the Fly website, you can download the newsletter they put out, which has more detail on it.
Good.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Some sad news. Some of you may have seen in the news because it's been quite widely reported. But Apollo astronaut William Bill Anders died last week at the age of 90 in an aircraft crash. Anders was flying a Beech T-34 Mentor trainer, which came down in a lake on Orcas Island in Washington State on Friday afternoon. Now, this photo on screen at the moment, that's probably, one of the most well-known photos, and it's probably the thing that Anders is best remembered for. It's a photo that's got referred to as Earthrise. It was taken on Christmas Eve 1968 when the Apollo 8 mission became the first to orbit the moon. His son, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Greg Anders, said the family is devastated. He was a great pilot and we will miss him terribly. Anders appeared to be attempting an aerobatic maneuver in the T-34 when the incident happened. So I guess we'll wait and see what the NTSB has to say about that. But a real loss, Apollo astronauts are dwindling all the time now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, big shame.
Did you know that Bill Anders had a degree in nuclear engineering?
I did not know that.
Well, I
didn't know that either.
I did once fly into Orcas Island, and I did bump into Bill Anders and added him to the list of Apollo astronauts I've bumped into in my time.
Sorry, Johnny, I interrupted you there.
No, don't worry. So next is another accident that also happened on water, which many of us saw the video of. And this was a beaver that collided with a small boat just off Vancouver. It was a Harbour Air beaver, which was taking off. And the boat appears to have got in the way of the aircraft. And there seemed to be no avoiding action taken by any. So obviously, potentially nobody actually saw what was going to happen. It was in Cole Harbour, which is the downtown seaplane terminal for Harbour Air. But thankfully, there were 5 passengers. I'm just reading the information. 5 pilot and 5 passengers who were all safe, and everybody on the boat was accounted for. So on paper, you think that looks terrible, but miraculously,
to be run over by a beaver, the people in the boat must count themselves as incredibly lucky. Know what they were doing, because it was a designated seaplane operating area, wasn't it? So,
It was. Yeah.
So there's been a lot. If you watch the internet chatter, there's like the boatists are going, "What was the beaver doing? He should have avoided the boat." So,
to be fair, just to play not devil's advocate, but just to be fair, it was a designated area. But there have been occasions when us pilots have strayed into areas where we shouldn't have been. These things happen, and I'm just very happy that that a beaver at takeoff power. Yeah, that's what 450 horsepower, bloody big, nasty propeller going through that boat. So
yeah,
well done there. Okay, quick story from me. This is about the TEL story, tetraethyl lead, that I would have spoken to you about last week. There was a decision due by the EU about whether to delay the implementation of it being added to the REACH set of chemicals, which is due to happen May 2025. The decision was due to be taken on the 5th or 6th of April, but it didn't get taken then, so we don't know about it. But that particular can, or jerry can, I guess in this particular case, that particular jerry can was kicked down the road till Q3 or Q4 of this year. So we'll find out more then, or maybe we won't. Who knows? Hopefully we will, because we kind of need to know. But it's quite important. So that's the TEL story. What have we got now?
Some Virgin Galactic news. Virgin Galactic's VSS Unity spaceplane conducted its final commercial mission. It was the firm's 7th commercial flight on the 8th of June. that Unity has made just 12 space flights, including one with Livestream guest Trevor Beatty. You might recall he was on the show. The company said the retirement allows them to complete work on their Delta class of vehicles, which promises much higher flight rates and lower operating costs. Richard Branson was around for Galactic Flight number 7. He flew on Unity in 2021, you might remember, and he said the company was still committed to the vision of enabling thousands and thousands of people to experience space flight in what was definitely a dig at a certain investor in Twitter. He said, that's the aim of Virgin Galactic. Other people have aims of going to Mars, which is equally and absolutely, utterly extraordinary. He said, but what we want to do is enable many people to experience what astronauts have experienced today. So,
he would say that, wouldn't he?
yes.
Right, it's a great story because at the moment, I mean, to be perfectly honest, we sat down and tried to figure out what news we were going to look at this week. And with Oshkosh coming up in 4 or 5 weeks' time, there's a whole load of the GA companies that are kind of keeping the news close to their chest, so they can wow us all with news of their latest color stitching on their airplane or something like that. But anyway, so time for a little Schadenfreude, I guess. This story relates to YouTuber Alex Choi, a young 20, I don't know, some reports say 21, some say 25. I'm sure he's got a 20 in it somewhere. Anyway, YouTuber Alex Choi kind of set up this little, there it was, there you go. Whoa. You have control?
I have control.
I think the thing was can I destroy a Lamborghini with fireworks from an R44? So
No.
Hired an R44, I presume he hired the R44, launched a whole load of fireworks at the camera-strewn Lamborghini, from the camera-strewn R44, and then very recently, this was quite a while ago now, but very recently got himself arrested by the feds you've been arrested for causing there to be explosive and incendiary devices be carried on an airplane, notably the R44, and if you are guilty, that carries a sentence of up to 10 years in prison. So there you go. So just a word to the wise: if you decide this weekend that you're a bit bored, don't go strapping fireworks to anything that's flying. Really,
I find stories like that amazing because it's like, surely crazy YouTubers go to what must be regular pilots and go, I'd like to do something crazy. Does regular pilot not go, actually, that's going to put my license in jeopardy?
I think this is like, this falls into there are 600 odd thousand pilots in the US, and so, or thereabouts. So you will always find someone who thinks it's a good idea. B, there's an awful lot of people who would quite like their 15 minutes of fame and a few clicks and stuff. And I can see how you do that. And somewhere along the line, you have to kind of decide to draw the line. And some people draw the line in places that are a long way away from where most of us would draw a line. Trevor Jacobs, another one. And you know, YouTubers will be YouTubers, unfortunately.
I guess
they're not all bad.
Yeah,
we
what
do
you
YouTube
can say is but what you can say is that in the quest for flyer YouTube views, we won't be strapping rockets to the 182.
No, what we will be doing is getting Ed's Jeep type thing. He'll be driving it down the runway. We'll all be running alongside, lobbing cowpats at it or something. We'll be doing something a little bit. Or maybe we'll have tea inside and hopefully not spill our tea on his carpet or something. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, enough wibble from me. Johnny.
Just a quick update on the Lancashire beach landings. The dates for June, 15th of June and 20th of July are now off. So the next potential dates that they're looking at are either the 17th of August, 31st of August, 14th of September, or 28th of September. Dave's updated the news story on the website. So if you need to look at those dates again, you can just head to the news section and get all the information.
Okay, right. And the final news story tonight is about record-setting 3 times around the world helicopter pilot Peter Wilson, seen here, is off again. You may remember he had a project 10 years ago of 3 journeys round. It's now becoming 4 journeys round, although he's still keeping the title 3 journeys round. He said it's 5 years since I flew around Latin America when he set his current world record, with a fellow Brit, Matthew Gallagher, in 2017. Now he's going to fly around with a Brazilian pilot called Andre de Freitas, and they're going to circumnavigate through what's known as antipodes. I had to look this up. Antipodes are points on the Earth which are directly opposite each other. So if you cut a line through, they cut a line from Hong Kong, it will end up in Argentina, sort of thing.
It's an important thing if you're flying around the world, isn't it? Because the Rutherford brother and sisters made sure that they took in all the antipodes, I think, when they did their record flights around the world, because if you don't do it, your record flight is called into question.
There's someone in an office with a Guinness logo on top, and they're just like they look after antipodes and everything. Yeah. Have you done that with an antipode? No, sorry, rejected.
So Peter's hoping to beat his previous record of 121 days, bring it down to 100 days. The route he's posted includes Russia. So I was a bit puzzled by this. So I got in touch with Peter to ask him, Russia's got a few sanctions on it at the moment. It's not the safest place in the world for to fly a helicopter, a Brit to fly a helicopter. He said, it doesn't matter because I've got a Brazilian tail number on my helicopter. And he has a visa, apparently. So anyway, he's going ahead with it. He's departing. What's today? He's departing in 5 days' time. Good luck to the chap.
That's not the point, is it? Having a bloody flag, a convenience Brazilian thing, so you can go sanction bust. I mean, seriously, Peter, come on.
Yeah. No, I know.
Right, we're not talking about that anymore. We're going to move on. We're not going to give it any coverage whatsoever.
Before we do that, very quickly, Barnaby says, please answer my medical question, guys. And Barnaby asked earlier, he said, I'm upgrading for a Lappel to PPL. I did my class 2 today. No issues. Why can you have worse eyesight for a Lappel and fly the same aircraft? If you've got an answer for Barnaby, pop it in the comments.
Makes no sense, he said. And it wasn't designed to make sense, is the answer. It's just the way it is. You've started a lifelong quest in looking for regulations that have no sense.
Yes.
Your life will never be complete. You'll never manage to see that. Anyway, enough of all that. Let's move on and bring our guests on. So we are lucky today to talk to Mike and Sam Roberts. There you go. Thank you very much. Somehow our news that wasn't very much news ran on a little bit, and we've come to you 7 minutes late. So apologies for that.
No problem.
Mike and Sam Roberts should be world famous for all sorts of things.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just to prove we've been listening to every word you've said.
Fantastic. Right. Mike and Sam Roberts run, own, whatever the word is, take flight aviation. Enstone now, so fantastic, and Mike has got all sorts of various world records and other bits and pieces and cheesy videos with jokes about cheese in it and all sorts of funny bits. Mike is one of these people who exudes fun flying and enthusiasm and stuff like that, and maybe you do as well, Sam. Sorry, I just haven't met you as much as I've met Mike, so apologies for that. Mike, before we go on to the questions about take flight, about running a school, about running and stuff like that, just tell us how did it all start for you? Let's just make sure we fit in and tick that little box first.
That is a good question, and people ask all the time, but I lived on the approach to Birmingham Airport when I was a kid, and I think that's what made me look at aircraft. In those days there were small airplanes operating out of Birmingham on the short runway, and I think that's what gave me my inspiration. And then just got a PPL later in life, and then got a bit drunk one night in a pub and bought a flying club.
Wow. Which pub? I'm not going to ask you.
You don't go there.
I'm going to make sure I never go there.
It's probably the worst and best decision of my life, actually.
It's almost as if you staged that, because the next question I'm going to ask you, going to kick off with, is if Carlsberg ran flying clubs, what would they be like? What is it? I mean, Take Flight does have a kind of special place. It has a huge kind of social following. Does lots of events. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about the detail. What was your ambition for it? What made it different?
Yeah, we actually had a promotional bookmark in the old days, which was a beer pump with a Take Flight beer on, and it said if Carlsberg ran flying clubs, then it would be effectively like us. I think my inspiration was. What occurred to me that most PPLs, when they got a PPL after about 4 years, seem to give it up, or it drifted off. So my first ambition really was to create a club that inspired people to fly, but also that would let them hire an airplane at a reasonable price, and also they could take it away for a weekend and just pay the hours they flew. So there was no minimum hours requirement, which I understand some flying clubs who want to use their aircraft for training. I get the issues, but by creating a membership, sort of a monthly membership fee, we were able to support at one time 16 airplanes, which people could take away and go away for a weekend or even a week, and just pay the hours they flew. So if they flew down to Jersey for a weekend, it would cost them 4 hours flying, and it was very successful. In our former home, we've had to sort of rebuild it at Enstone, but it's up all the time.
So I mean, having the aircraft that you hire like that is one thing. Did you kind of organise any flights? How did you provide the inspiration to get people off of their sofas and into their aeroplanes and head off somewhere?
I think it was in terms of the club, we were just so involved in the local community. We were bringing people in all the time. We used to do an event nearly every week for the charities and local clubs and organisations. So that brought a lot of people into the club. But in terms of flyouts, we just looked at interesting places. We tried to have short trips to go-karting or a local pub on occasions, but then longer trips. We did Monaco most years. We used to go down to the Balearics. So some people who wanted to do a week's trip could join in the fun with that. But also, if somebody wanted to go 20 minutes to a local pub for an evening meal and a Coke, that would facilitate that as well. So it was just having that mix of events. And also we used to have a monthly meeting, which we're recreating now. We had a great speaker this month from the John Egging Trust, Emma Egging, just inspirational people like that. And we had Concorde pilots, Harrier pilots, air traffic controllers, all sorts of people, and just getting people together. And then once people meet, they tend to click and they want to organise to go flying together. So there's lots of ways. It was not one single way. It was just lots of ideas to bring people together and to encourage them to go flying, really.
So you're kind of like pub landlords for a flying club, really, just to kind of put it in the energy to, without the beer part of it, really.
Yeah, and without the barmaids, sadly.
Barmaids.
So,
Sam, I guess you kind of, I think I'm right in saying that you're Mike's son as opposed to Mike's husband.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm guessing you kind of grew up with aviation, and you probably, I don't know if you had any choice or not, really, and it just became that way.
Yeah, well, obviously did grow up, as a young lad. I can remember sort of being a passenger in some of the flights that my dad was doing. I was very, very lucky to be able to, take the world of general aviation in without sort of knowing too much about it at that time. It was never actually something that I, really aspired to go on and do. It sort of fell into my hands in the way of, the history about having to move the airfields and what we've been through. And I saw a bit of an opportunity, whether it was a good idea now to have taken it on. But I do, obviously really enjoy my flying. I love, I love going places, as we've just said, the flyouts that we do. So yeah, I think it's something that I really want to get back hold of. Obviously, with some of our events, we don't see that as many numbers in the events and the flyouts that we do. But with the plans that we've got moving forward, I really hope that we can, build to where we were and where my dad had built it, previously.
So I think we've got a picture here somewhere, and it says. So maybe you can help explain this, because it says future.
So we've been working with the landlords, Tom and Will Gilbert at the Enstone Airfield, the Northside Grass at Enstone Airfield. This is something that is obviously their concept and their planning, with the idea that we're going to sort of share the hospitality in there, so form a better clubhouse to what we've got at the moment. We've just got a really small sort of terrapin building, so we can't really host things in there. And we're looking to sort of share that building with them to create more of a social scene. There's going to be some office space for the maintenance facility that they have. And that's what we've been trying to get hold of this for the last 3.5 years. And we finally got planning last week. So the planning was granted. So it's really to push on now and try and create more of a social scene, like you say, the pub landlord joke. But actually, in a way, that's what we want to do. We want to, bring people back in, and not just flyers. We used to have people that would just pop in for teas and coffees when we were at Wellesbourne. Unfortunately, we don't see that much as where we are at the moment. But I think if there was, a nicer place to come to, like that fantastic building that they've got planning for now, we can really see more people in the club and create a better social scene.
Yeah, and that planning's only just been passed this week, so that's why it's very current for us.
What's the sort of timeline? Now that the planning's approved, when do you hope to have that building done?
Well, again, that's sort of out of our hands, and again, very lucky to have the opportunity to move into that building when it is. But it's looking for Tom and Will. It's up to them really when they want to do it. I know they're pretty keen. They've got the framework for the building, so we'd be hoping over the next year that we could see some sort of forks in the ground maybe. So.
Yeah, and how's Enstone working out for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's there has been some struggles over the last 3 years, not just with Enstone. Obviously, since our move, we lost a lot of members, so we lost a lot of flying. COVID, of course, stopped us as well. So it came at a really bad time. It felt like after what had happened to us, we really got kicked around with COVID, and then the fuel increases. So it just it was one thing after the next. So, it was really good last week at one of the events to be able to give this good news about the new clubhouse that we've been waiting for. And I really think this is a bit of some good news that we can really sort of build on. We've had some ups and downs with the weather there. It's quite fairly high ground, so we get some rough weather. We use the grass and the hard runway. So we've been quite lucky in that respect. So things are looking up moving forward. We just need a little bit better weather over this summer to get the aircraft in the air, really.
Yeah, we're also looking to do a slightly different model at Shellington Airfield. We've got a little base at Shellington as well, which is a small, primarily gliding site, but we have a little hut there. And we're trying to do a model around a 172, which is very similar to what we did with the Malibu. I don't know if you're aware, but we have a shared group in a Piper Malibu. And we're sort of trying to do the same model with the 172 at Shellington.
I think the trouble has been, seeing people not fly as much is obviously the increases with the fuel and the rates over the years. We have seen a drop off in some regular flying. So we want to try and get this model back to a fuel only rate to try and get people back up in the air a little bit more. Paying between 80 and 100 pounds an hour for a flight rather than 200, but as long as we can sort of cover the costs over the annual period with a slightly higher monthly fee or membership fee.
Yeah, it's an interesting model, isn't it? That kind of I mean, obviously any kind of aircraft fleet has certain kind of bills, and it's just the way you can cut it to cover that stuff is an interesting. I mean, I've always been maybe you can answer me a quick question as flying club owners and this kind of minimum hours thing. I know you don't do the minimum hours thing, but it seems to me if you've got a minimum hours thing, let's say you got your charge is 200 quid an hour, and you have like 3 minimum hours. It seems to me that a school ought to say, well, we don't make 200 quid an hour on a 200 quid. So, our profit on that, for argument's sake, is 50 quid or whatever it happens to be.
I wish.
I'm doing easy sums at the moment. Yeah, the profit on an hour's rental is 50 quid. So instead of saying the minimum hours and you have to pay the whole 200 for an airplane that's sitting there doing nothing, just pay me the profit I would have made on it had I been able to rent it out. So give me 50 quid an hour instead of 200 quid an hour for the minimum hours. And I think that might encourage people to.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I think the difficulty is you obviously need the aircraft flying to sort of look at the maintenance in terms of the annuals and the fixed costs like the insurance and the parking and stuff. So they've got to consider that. So I guess if it is a difficult one, it's one we've looked at, which is why we're trying to do a different model to see if that works. It's worked really well with the Malibu we've got, but we look at an even bigger cost for that. It's an expensive aircraft to operate. And again, the problem always is people not doing enough hours. That seems to be the issue.
But does having a nice, because quite often flying clever airplanes can be a bit down at heel. So have you found that having a really nice, presentable aeroplane really helps.
I think we did some upgrades on one of our Warrior 160s, and that's been quite popular. So it's had some new avionics, some shiny glass G5s, and 650, which is, I think, encourages some people to sort of fly that one. But yeah, I think you were really keen when you back before I sort of took more of a leading role in really we had some fresh paint jobs on some of the 180s, and some new interiors, and keeping them as tidy as possible is important.
I think my view was people were coming to fly the airplanes in cars that are probably worth more than the aircraft we were charging them of £200 or £300 an hour to operate. So you want to have something that's you're proud to fly. So we used to do a paint job and a new interior on them as a matter of course, really, when we took the airplanes on, because I think it's important. And if people think you're looking after the airplane, they feel safer as well. And the same for passengers that are going in a GA aircraft for the first time. If it's the seats are ripped, it's falling apart, and there's paint peeling off, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, really.
No.
So I noticed that there's talking of social events. There's this. We were sent this. So Take for Aviation Open Day and Barbecue. Just to give you a little bit of a plug here. Saturday 27th. Oh, that's during Oshkosh. Otherwise we might have popped up. But yeah, Oshkosh instead. Instant airfield. Okay, barbecue, Northside Grass Landing. So there you go, everybody. That'll be, if it's not already, it'll be in our events listing, won't it, Dave?
Yes. Yeah.
Dave.
I mean, the other thing, apart from take flight, that you're pretty well known for. I think every year you tend to enter the Dawn to Dusk competition, and you also either hold or held some world records. We've spoken to you before about your world records, and I think was it number of countries or number of airfields? I can't remember now.
We did, number of airfields. We've still got the record for that. 118 airfields in a day, full stop landings. So quite proud of that. And also we did have the countries one, which has been beaten by somebody in a private jet, would you believe? Because Guinness call a fixed wing aircraft a fixed wing aircraft. So somebody in a Learjet has gone and beaten our country's world record. And the aim is to try and reclaim that this year, but it is a real challenge, not least because there's some problems adding a few countries like Estonia and Latvia and Lithuania. Means we're going very close to Ukraine and Russia, and there's a lot of jamming around there at the moment. And also something I wasn't aware of till this week, spoofing of GPS signals, which puts you in a different place to where you think you are. So that's something we've got to consider.
You might have to get those chart things out that they used to use in history.
You have to explain that to me, Ian.
Yeah, I just heard about it. I've never actually seen any, but so just it. I mean, I'm not going to go and try and get a world record for the maximum number of countries, but I know there are various world records you can get. What's the kind of what steps you have to take? You don't just get up one day and go. I mean, not so much the flying and the planning and stuff like that, but the actual record part of it. Or do you just do it and then declare that you got the record?
No, it's quite a complicated process to go through Guinness. They have a lot of strange criteria you have to adhere to, including you're supposed to start off your flight with sounding a loud klaxon horn. But there's all sorts of various things. There has to be a video of the whole event from start to finish with no gaps. Various things to prove what you've done. But luckily, I have a colleague who's most of the world records I've done, all bar one, in fact, is with a colleague of mine who's Nick Rogers, who's a commercial pilot, and he loves the planning. So he does all the planning, and I just take all the credit for doing the flying and doing the fun bit.
Quite right too. So, I mean, do you end up with like someone from Guinness at the end or something in a suit, standing there with a clipboard and a yellow jacket, or? No,
you can do that if you want to sort of guarantee that your record's going to work. Then you can get somebody from Guinness to come along, but they do charge quite a lot for that. I'm not sure somebody from Guinness would like being bounced around in a light aircraft for 18 or 19 hours. So they might have got their clipboard by that time.
So when are you hoping to? When are you hoping that the planning's complete so you can take all the glory?
Well, we were hoping to do countries one again to go for 20 or 21 countries, but we've got a technical issue with the aircraft. The aircraft's being having some new cylinders and a new turbo. And we were waiting for a turbo seal, I was told today. So actually, our planned date of doing it is not going to happen. Sadly, I've only found that out today. But hope if we don't get it done this year, we'll certainly be doing it next year. But it does mean that we'll be flying for about 19 hours of the 24. So it's going to be a long old day, and the potential for it to go pear-shaped with weather or GPS jamming or maintenance issues. There's a lot more. Whereas the previous world records I've done, I was fairly confident at the start that we were going to achieve it. This one, I'm sort of 50-50 as to whether we'll do it, because I know 16 countries in a day was quite an achievement. To push on to the 21 is pushing it a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with something in a jet and beating us.
And I mean that must be all of the planning and the whole 19 hours or something. And if you don't make it by one, I mean that's just got to be devastating, isn't it? Or...
Well, it will, yeah. We've sort of said, you know, at what point do we call it a day if we know it's not going to work? It's obviously quite an expensive process as well. And I would mention we do always and have done for about 6 or 7 years now offset our carbon emissions. People will moan about that, but we've been pretty good on that since I think since we were able to offset them. So, but yeah, I think it will be really devastating, and you know, and as you've said, we try and put them into the dawn to dusk as well every year. So we've been enjoying that process as well. So definitely, hopefully we'll be at the next event in the RAF club with a bit of luck.
Yeah, so for anyone who's not entered, you should go take a look and have a look, because it's a great event and a great evening, and
yeah. That was the inspiration for the world record in the first place. I wanted to do something different for the dawn to dusk, and looked at world records and thought, oh, I could do that. But that was pre Sky Demon and pre modern GPS, so it was with the old fashioned charts and trying to get pencils and all that sort of stuff. So we managed to do 63 airfields, I think, then in those days. Wow. And luckily I had a student pilot with me who could help out. And I
read a book the other day, and it was about someone flying around the world in the days before GPS. I mean, like, yes. I think they just made it up, to be honest. They went to a corner of the airfield and left the engine ticking over for 3 months there, and then came back. I mean, no one could. It's impossible, isn't it? You can't.
Have you seen the record with the guy who spent about 28 days in a 172 airborne? That's pretty good.
The one that's hanging up in Las Vegas. Yeah. That's the end of that. Yeah. He probably has never walked again when he got out. Probably spent the rest of his life stuck like that.
There were two of them, weren't there? Two of them in that aeroplane.
Yeah. I know when we did our 50 counties challenge, and we started in Scotland and ended up in Fernandina Newquay Airport that Dave was talking about earlier. Our legs were quite wobbly on that day when we got out after about 16 hours. So yeah, imagine
like astronauts returning.
10 weeks. Yeah.
There's just a few things to pick up in the comments. Eretique says, "Are you offering catering at Shennington?"
We won't be offering ourselves, but they've the owners there are doing a fantastic job of doing some social events, and they've set up a runway, a hangar bar called the Runway Social, which is actually bringing a lot of people in from the local villages around, which is really good. You know, getting them sort of on board with aviation rather than sort of complaining about the aircraft and local area. So they're doing a fantastic job. So we're hoping that with our aircraft and the members that we take on, we'll be able to get involved with some of the activities and events they're doing there. They do coffee days as well. So if you check them out, the Runway Social on all the social media pages, you'll see what they're up to over the summer. So it's also a great place to fly in there, accepting PPR as well.
No, I hope you've seen Air Antiques piston in the background.
A Darren special.
Yeah, it is a Darren special indeed. Yeah, very nice too. It is.
He gets about that Darren chap, doesn't he?
Yes, he does indeed.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, I think looking at the time, we need to move on because it's 23 minutes past, which means, and we have our little fancy hangar bit now. I'm going to let Ed introduce Fancy Hangar. Before I do, I'm going to say thank you. Maybe you can come along if you can bear to hang around for another 5 or 10 minutes. Come back and give us as flying school owners. Come back and give us your verdict on our Fancy Hangar choices. That will be
okay. Sounds good.
Fantastic. So let's run the tape. Oh, both. should point out, because there's a few comments in the comments. It looks like there's been some problems on YouTube. So people have been not being able to post, and then it looks like there's been some buffering going on. So not unfortunately out of our hands, but hopefully you guys have all caught up. We are seeing your comments. So
yeah. Well, unfortunately, yes. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, it's kind of
not much we can do. Anyway, so Fancy Hangar, because we've had Mike and Sam from Take Flight on, who are all about trying to run an exciting flying school. We thought, hey, Fancy Hangar, let's pick exciting practical additions to a flying club fleet. Now, most flying clubs, they go for very practical and very safe and very sensible aeroplanes, but sometimes you need an exciting aeroplane on your fleet. So that's our challenge. Who's going first?
I'm top of the list here.
Okay.
And I'm going to humbly suggest that I'm the winner this week. Before anybody comes out, it seems obvious to me. Where's my picture gone? There it is. It seems obvious to me that the aircraft you would want on your fleet is a T-34 Mentor.
Ooh,
There are a couple of versions. There was a turbine version, but this is a piston version. Beechcraft T-34 Mentor, genuine war dog, military trainer, aerobatic aircraft. It's basically a tandem bonanza, really. So it's got great handling, but because it's a tandem bonanza, it's kind of not. It's not outside of the. It's not the exotica that the people can't maintain and get used to. For some reason, there's none of them over here that I know of at the moment, but they are quite popular in the US. So good aerobatic tandem aircraft that is effectively a Beechcraft bonanza. Just to give it a bit
that is a good choice.
Yeah, I'd almost say, we'll stop it there, because that is, if that was on your club fleet, that seems like that would be very practical. But it's tandem, and tandem makes things exciting, doesn't it?
Absolutely right. So anyway, Dave, what have we got in the events this week?
It's not a one-horse race.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, in that case, I guess it is Dave next.
Dave, what did you go for?
Well, I've gone to something extremely practical. This is a Pitts S2C. Look at that. That's very practical. And the reason I've chosen this is because Alan Cassidy, who used to run Freedom Aerobatics at White Waltham, and is the author of one of the best books on aerobatics, he used to say that the Pitts S2A was the best training aircraft ever. Now, the S2A is quite small in the front cockpit. It's quite tight. And if anybody's a bit bigger, a bit longer in the leg. So the S2C is the current one out of Aviation, who produced the Pitts, and it's a great aircraft. You see, it's got a full canopy. It's highly aerobatic. It's a great training aircraft, according to Alan Cassidy, and I think it would be very exciting.
That is very exciting, and I can see that. And are there any? Do people feel a bit claustrophobic in that canopy? I don't know. Is it a bit too fiery chested? I don't know.
Well, not for Dave, clearly.
Well, Johnny.
Right. So I've gone. What can be more exciting than being outside or in the air? So I've picked the Boeing Stearman. Obviously, big, lumbering. Sounds great. I think it would be a good addition to a flying club because in terms of flying the thing, it's just, yes, it's slow. Of course it's slow, but it's kind of like, just 10, 15 minutes in the local area type of thing. But they just feel so cool to be sat in. I've had one flight in one and you sat there with your elbows up like this and the airplane's lumbering down. It's just brilliant fun. It's great fun. Loved it. And of course, when you close the throttle high up and just gliding down, you get that lovely noise of the wind through the bracing wires.
And while someone did remark, there's Clive Anstey says the student crash rate is very high at Dave's school, which is nice. We were reminded before we came on air that someone that we know actually did his whole PPL. He's set out specifically and did his whole PPL on a Pitts S2C in the UK. So it is possible.
That probably wouldn't have been one of the lower cost PPLs around, though, would it?
it probably wouldn't have been a lower cost PPL. No.
But he didn't do it in 35 hours or 40 hours or whatever it is as well. No?
I don't think he spent too much more time. So, but yeah. So I guess that just leaves me.
Leaves you. What kind of amazing, antique kind of trousered thingy have you got?
I've let my head overrule my heart in all, and I've gone for German efficiency and strength, but excitement. I went for this, the underrated Extra 200, designed by Walter Extra, introduced in 1996. Basically, they took the Extra 300 and made it more economical and a better kind of all-round training sports aerobatic aircraft for flying clubs. It's got an AEIO 360, 200 horsepower, so easy to maintain, more frugal than the big six-cylinder Lycoming, and cost of ownership is low. I checked, UK8 missing 100 horsepower. No, apparently it's great even on 200 horsepower, and that's it looks great, but it's really achievable for people. I checked with Mark Jeffrey's website earlier, and presuming the numbers are right, he says an Extra 200 will cost 244,000 euros plus VAT, which seems like a lot of aeroplane for the money on a flying club. And I think there are a few of those on UK flying club fleets, which makes me think that's a good choice.
Let's bring Mike and Sam back and just check out.
So normally I'd want to go with the boss, but I'm afraid, Ian. So
interestingly, one thing that we did miss out on earlier about being a good flying club is the importance is having some really good instructors. And funnily enough, we do actually have a pits or sort of under our PTO with one of our instructors, Roger. So we can actually fly that aircraft, under Take Flight's umbrella already. And second to that, we'll go with the steerman, because another one of our instructors the other day actually was questioning buying one and putting it on the fleet. So we've got some fantastic guys, and not only that, Tom and Will at Enstone specialise in rebuilding steermen. So potentially it could actually be a thing for us in the future.
I did my first aerobatic flight in an Extra, and I just don't like aerobatics. I think that's what put me off. So I think, are we going to go with the pits?
I think we'll go with the pits.
I think there's a problem with your sound because it's making you say silly things.
You have that same issue. You have that same issue, don't you, Ian?
No. Okay, fair enough. What does everyone say out there then, Ed?
Comments. Johnny's giving it a fair go, but he's not convincing anyone. Stop controlling the pictures here. Steermans are great, providing someone else pays for the fuel. Clive Anstey says Ed wins. African Eagle, I love the Steerman. Ian's won. Nick says Johnny wins. Biggles Biplanes says Johnny wins. Ed wins. What else have we got? Ian wins. Johnny a close second. Ian's got it tonight. I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. It's a rare day. Ian wins. Like Robert says, that Extra, it's cheaper than a Shark. Ed wins on the extra mile. Ed wins. Ian again. I agree with Ian. Oh, rather underpowered. I guess he's talking about my Extra. So
yes.
Ian and me wins. I win. I've had
the rest.
Okay. Yeah. What's the plural of Steerman? Johnny wins. Johnny wins. Expected Ed to go for it now. Well, there we go, Clive. You can't anticipate everything, can you?
It's quite ironic calling the two.
Dave wins. Johnny wins. Ian wins. Ed wins. I don't know. I think the audience might be calling an Ian wins. So
should have gone with the boss.
Well, we'll just take one more look at that.
And I think tandem is sufficiently different that it makes people feel excited.
It's a bonanza.
But it doesn't look like bonanza.
What's that French thing called, Ed? That
Epsilon.
Epsilon. There you go. That would be. I should have chosen Epsilon. That wouldn't have been bad.
That's essentially a TB. Is that a TB21 but tandem?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I'd forgotten all about that. That's quite a good shout.
That would have been a good one as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right, anyway, there you go. Right, so I think we can. Well, we'll just say that everybody is a winner, and the participation medal week it is.
Yeah, Skycrow says, "I'm just thankful I didn't say Cub."
Yeah, very true. Right, what have we got in the way of events then, Dave?
Well, this should be one of the busiest weekends of the year. Loads of flyings and events are listed, but the weather. So check before going anywhere. Check before setting off. So from tomorrow, Friday the 14th to the 23rd of June, microlighters will be making their way around the UK in the Fly UK event. Friday to Saturday, another microlight event, Wings and Wheels at St Michael's Airfield near Preston, Lancs. Friday to Sunday, there's an aerobatics competition at Leicester Airport. Saturday the 15th, Blackbush Open Day and Fly-In. The weather, anyway. Saturday also, grasshopper gathering at Bodmin. That doesn't mean grasshoppers, it means Piper L-44s and other military type things. There's also the Kilkeel barbecue of fly.
Kilkeel has officially been called off.
That's the second time that's been called off.
Yeah, earlier today they called that off, sadly.
Okay, Saturday also Red Day to do with at Wickenby, to do with the fact they were once where the Red Arrows are based. Saturday and Sunday, the Stomp Club International Flying is at Headcorn in Kent. Sunday, Priory Farm Flying in Norfolk. And next week, it's the Raduno in Italy for some. For others, on the 20th, it's the Popham Evening Barbecue.
Ooh, yeah. And David Eads reminds us that New Hall Mains have got a fly-in as well up in Scotland on Saturday.
And David, we haven't forgotten. We have said that we will get to you this year, and we will get to you this year somehow. Not this weekend though, because it's going to be a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I think it might be the Radu. No.
Oh, very good, very good. Right. Thank you very much, everybody. Mike, Sam, thank you very much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you at Enstone, Shunnington, or the RAF Club for the Dawn to Dusk thing. Who knows? I look forward to that. Thank you, team. And thank you very much to everybody out there for joining us tonight. If you haven't yet, please give us a like. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. That costs nothing. And if you're feeling flush, it costs £5 a month. Just £5 a month for all of this stuff. It'll be brilliant. So join the Fly Club. Thank you very much, everyone. I won't see you next week, but the team will. We've got a stonking guest. Is it next week? We've got a
stonking guest. We've got Paul Dye, who was the longest-serving spaceflight director for NASA. So knows all about operating the shuttle. Got some amazing tales. Also, I need a massive, big PPL operator. Built loads of kit planes, but Paul Dye. On the live stream next week.
A chance to talk to a flight director for the space shuttle.
Yeah.
This is where you need to be next week. Right. Yeah. Thank you. Not in some Italian bar like we'll be. So, thank you very much, everyone. Have a good one. Fly safe.
Be safe. Bye.
Bye.